Hello again, it's me, Tony, from the Game Challenger UK YouTube channel, and I'd like to say thank you very much for those of you who watch The Future is Ours, the emerging tech for the Black community and beyond. But today we've got part two, and I just want to think about some of the things we talked about in part one before we allow Joe and Bosse to get started in the question I asked towards the end. So remember, we talked about tech, we talked about English and maths and how relevant it is to the AI, the new emerging technology. We talked about Africa, we talked about infrastructure, we talked about the biggest assets we have are the people and so many things. So what I'm going to do, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Bosse and Joe. Take it away.
No, it's good actually. It's really a lot of what you said was food for thought. And I thought the first thing you said about Africa and are they ready? And the especially Nigeria in terms of the infrastructure with the power and the electricity. You're right. If you don't have the infrastructure, you can't thrive. So that needs to be looked at. But we don't have control over that. So I don't know, in a sense, whether we should really put the focus there because you can but the way I look at it is, look, they need to get their infrastructure right. We need to have power because the next generation that's gonna, basically use the tech and get involved in tech, they need to have those skills, but the infrastructure needs to be there. So but as I said, I don't know quite how to direct that conversation in terms of, I don't want to focus on the negative. I want to focus on the positive in terms of skill up. We need to get prepared because you're going to need your maths, you're going to need your English, and I think the students, I think in terms of Africa, English is like the first language in a lot of these African countries anyway. And to be fair, a lot of the Africans speak better English than the native. So I'm going to say that English shouldn't be a problem, maths shouldn't be a problem either. But let's get the infrastructure right, and let's get them understanding. You need to skill up, you need to get ready, and this is what you should be looking at learning. So that's all really exciting. Um, Something else you mentioned about the decentralization, that's really quite exciting, but a lot of people still don't really understand. So we need to kind of like break it down in a language where people can understand. They don't understand what's coming, what decentralization means, but they do understand that their bank is controlling their money more and not letting them have access to it. And a lot of people online, when you look at the different platforms from variety of different like communities online, they're not happy about it. And so you're right, that's something that people are realizing, but they're not really understanding the bigger picture. So that's a really great point as well. And what else did you mention that I thought was interesting? Oh, and also when you mentioned the blockchain, I was speaking to someone today. I'm not going to say who it was, but they mentioned that they're they've got someone who's going to be attending that blockchain event, and they were so excited about it. So there seems to be a buzz about this, and maybe I'd like to go to this blockchain event and find out a bit more as well, because I need to understand this technology a bit more and what's going on. So yeah.
Well, thank you. That was it. And I'll just tell you, you see, one of the reasons why I wrote this book, yeah, which is breaking free. We need to break free from centralization, is because people don't understand, firstly, what is centralization? Secondly, what is decentralization? So if the
Mm.
first port of call is people get burnt because they don't understand.
Yeah.
And then when they get burnt, they don't go there again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing I'd say to everybody is pick up something, read it.
Mm.
Yeah. And I'll be biased. This is the one you need to read.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm reading that at the moment, and I'd say it's really well written. I've only got through, as I said, the first 25 pages, but I'm on it. Don't worry, I'm on it.
Great, great, great. Okay, so thank you for that, Bosse. Joe, over to you. You're on mute, so I know we're going to have a lot from you now. I've opened the
I
flight.
think that you about decentralization and what you think. Can't say too much about this. The I think I might have sent you information or documentary on this, about this idea, digital identity. It's to do with centralization, decentralization, whereby the government are planning now putting through legislation whereby um, they will centralize all your key information, you know, on a digital ID. whereby if they feel that you are against or negative citizen, they can at one button press and blow you up in a sense that you can't buy food, you can't go to the bank, you can't pay your rent because everything is paid electronically. So, hence, your book becomes really important information, if you like, in terms of understanding this centralization and decentralization, and how important in the whole scheme of things, present and future schemes of things, to understand that. I wonder if you can expand on that. What is your thinking, Bosse and Tony?
Well, I think for me, I think Boss should go first because I'm probably going to spend a bit of time, a little bit of time on it. So, Boss, do you want to go first on that?
Actually, I wouldn't mind listening to you, and then
Okay.
I'll come in after because
Well,
I'd rather get your
okay.
opinion. Thanks.
No problem, no problem. Well, Boss, Jerry, that's a good point in terms of the ID cards. Very touchy subject. I'm not going to give you my opinion in terms of that. My thing is really just that's the ultimate centralization. That's the ultimate centralization. When I say ultimate centralization, what that means is that's the mother of all centralizations. And once that's implemented, then it could spiral out of control. And what I mean by that is if we talk about cybersecurity, as you know, I'm also in cybersecurity. Yeah. Um, Cyber attacks are coming from everywhere. Yeah. They say I'm not privy to the information, but they say the Russians are attacking. They say the Chinese are attacking. Yeah. Now, isn't it going to make their job easy to attack if there's a central system where the whole population is there? So therefore, I only need to focus on this one point, and I'm in, and it's all over and out. I mean, do you trust the government to be able to put security to protect? Yeah, when people are breaking into the MI5, they're hacking into CIA, they're hacking into FBI, they're hacking into, and now suddenly all my data is stored. The biggest problem we have with all this data being stored, I mean, I get very worried when I go from website to website. Here we go again. Can I have your name? Can I have your address? Can I have your phone number? And then they store your details. And then we talk about the Data Protection Act. We talk about it's been violated all over the place, you know. And also, so for me, AI is going to make it even worse because you take two concoctions. You've got your cyber attacks, yeah, your threats, yeah. We know the vulnerabilities, yeah. The vulnerabilities, they know the vulnerabilities. So that means that the risks are high. Because remember, you don't get a risk unless there's a vulnerability and a threat. The threat is there. And they also, when they build new systems, there are always going to be vulnerabilities in new systems. Yeah. And as soon as that is built, people are going to start attacking. Yeah. So there's a high risk that our data is going to be in the hands of very dangerous people. And then they're going to use that to impersonate us. Yeah. So there's not going to be only one Joe Edgar. There'll be five Joe Edgars. One will look Chinese, and one will look Russian, and one will look whatever. Because guess what? They got access. They can open a bank account in your name. They can get benefits in your name. They can do all kinds of things in your name. It's happening already. It's happening already. So for me, I always say to people, and you said it before, the crime, just like everything is coming online, yeah, the crime is also coming online. So that means that the police, yeah, need to be online. We don't need police on the beat anymore. We need police online. Yeah. And even their intelligence levels, what they need to know is going to be more than what they need to know on the beat. So for me, I think I'm not happy. I'm not overjoyed that they want to bring this in under immigration, under migrants. Yeah. because it doesn't make any sense to me. No sense. How does that stop the boats, as they say? You got an ID card. You got a passport already. So why do we need an ID card to stop the boats? This, by the way, this they tried it before under another government and it didn't get through. So the same friends are trying it again. So for me, I'm into decentralization. I want to break free. So what they're saying to me with centralized digital card, is they want to centralize us. So everything we say, if you don't agree with them, you're finished. You can't even go for your shopping anymore. There was a film on this, by the way. There was a film on this where somebody said somebody had an accident and they were ill. They called the ambulance, they called the 999, and they said, this person is injured. Can you come and send the ambulance? And they said, oh, we can't answer your call. They said, why? Because you're not registered in our central system. You don't have a central ID. You need to get someone to call us that has a central ID. Yeah. So guys, it's already going on. So that's my take. So Bosse, on your side, what do you say?
I don't think I could give a better reply than that. But I think one of the things you said that kind of made me really someone else said this. I don't know if I was listening to the radio and they mentioned something about what you said about companies suffer a lot with data breaches, and with AI, the data, the data vulnerabilities are going to be a lot higher because of the automation of AI. So thinking about what you said in terms of all our data, and it might be sensitive data as well, vulnerable people's data in one central system, and then you've got these, we're getting attacked every day, cyber attacks every day. That doesn't sit comfortably with me at all. It actually makes us more vulnerable. Someone needs to rethink this, because at the moment, we're not at a level where we have got good cyber security to prevent this, and it's going to get worse. So I kind of feel very uncomfortable when you start thinking about the infrastructure and the attacks we're getting and things like that. No, it doesn't quite sit comfortably with me. I would need a lot of convincing, and like you said, we've already got a passport, we've already got the driving license, and so why do we really need this ID? I'm not quite sure we do. There's a different agenda for it, perhaps, that we're not all aware of. I don't know, sort of thing. And it's a way of controlling people again. So I think we all need to be mindful of our data in all these various systems. We need to, because a lot of companies are getting hit by these attackers from all these different countries, and it's only going to get worse. I actually believe that we should be looking at the younger generation that are coming to help understand the AI skills that are needed to kind of stop us getting attacked. We're going to need a lot of AI police. I call it AI police. So yeah, I think that's what's coming. And I feel like we need to kind of get all the younger generation that are interested in tech, looking at learning these technologies to help us, because you're going to need a lot of AI police out there. So that's my take on it. But I couldn't have answered it better than you. I thought you brought a lot of.
I think you bring it to a higher level, which is good. Yeah, because but the other thing I'd say is I don't know whether you heard of digital money, because digital money is also what they're working on, which means that your money is digital. So they will tax you from source. Yeah. They will fine you from source.
Oh, I've heard about that.
They will, and if you have too much money and you're not putting it in the economy, they will expire it from source. So you can have £1,000 in the bank that you say, you know what, I haven't got anything to do with it. They said, no. We need our economy to rise. So guess what? Everybody needs to spend money now. Now, if you don't spend money now, that money can be expired. So these are things that they haven't done yet, but there are places like China, that have already experimented it and also in some cases implemented it. So is it that the digital ID is to be able to have everybody there, and therefore it means that the digital money, is now there. And when I was young, and that was a long time ago, I can just about remember it. Yeah. But when I was young, they used to tell us about the communists. And they used to say how the communists used to control the whole country and they were bad people. They were evil people. You couldn't move without them knowing. Then is that not the same thing that's happening right now? They used to say on every street corner in Russia, in China, there was cameras. Look at us. Aren't we free? We have freedom of express, freedom of speech. We don't have cameras on the corner. Now, guess what now? How many cameras do we have on every corner now? Yeah. How many, how is it the digital card is not now looking at what they used to say to us were communists. Yeah. We're supposed to be capitalists. Yeah. So that's me. I think, Joe, you've opened a can of worms. You're going to get me in trouble. But anyway, carry on.
What I'm saying is, just to encompass everything else. As I said, I'm in cybersecurity and I've been doing it for about 5 years or more. There is no application or system or network that is safe proof. Yeah, there's a case that is in the media now about the Chinese spy, and even if you catch them, you can't prosecute them because we can't gather sufficient evidence in order to prosecute them. Your system and your processes and your security systems is not sophisticated enough to program them or to trace them. Yeah. And the thing is, the NHS are breached, government are breached, private data. We're collecting more data now than we've ever done before. Media, details, so much data. The only way that digital IT can work is if we process it back, we go back to the 1920s with feathers and paper, and we store them in a cabinet. That's the only way that they can keep our data safe. Electronically, they cannot keep it safe. NHS cannot keep your data safe. Government cannot keep your data. And now they want to centralize all of this detail. Not possible. They haven't got the resources. They haven't got the knowledge. There's the data, I think, there's information I sent to all of you about England has the second technological development in the world beside China. Can you imagine that? England has got more technological companies and advancements and development than most countries. And yet, we're not there, but the private sector has. There's a lot more investment being put into the private sector in terms of technological development. But they're also making a lot of people redundant. So this digital central processing that they want to do is, for me, is like another poll tax. When Maggie tried to bring it in, and people protest against it. It's your freedom of right being violated, and it is your freedom that can never be protected in any form or shape because you haven't got the skills or the resources to do so.
Well, one of the things I say, Joe, is does any of you know, and anyone know, how much every day, is lost by cyber attacks? It's not even every day. Let's say per year, roughly. Anyway, and I don't take a guess per year.
Well,
how many cyber attacks happen?
No, how in terms of pounds or dollars, how much per year?
It's got to be in the millions, surely.
In the millions, okay.
In the millions.
Yeah, in the millions. Okay. Per year, yeah. But it's actually 64 billion. 64 billion is being lost per year. That's in the, by the way, that's the UK. That's the UK.
Yeah.
That's not the world. That's the UK.
That's to repair the damage.
But it doesn't matter.
To
It's
repair
what it doesn't matter. It's a cyber attack, whether it's repairing, whether it's
Yeah, sure.
ransom, whether it's what.
Yeah.
Look at Jaguar.
Mm.
Jaguar went down, and it was costing them millions every day.
Marks and
Yeah,
Spencer's recently as
Marks
well.
went down.
Mm.
Look at the school that
167 million.
look at the schools that went down. But let me bring it back to the point. 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 Got 27 billions a year, someone says, but I've actually researched 64 in the UK. Yeah. But what it is let me let you into something here. Let me bring it back to where we were. How do we, as a Black community in the UK and in Africa, put ourselves into the position where we can take advantage of this opportunities? What are the opportunities? What are the opportunities? Yeah. And how do we get ourselves in a position? So I don't know. I'm going to put that to you first, Bosse, because we need to just get that. We've talked about all the problems, we talk about all the issues, but listen, our people are number one issue now. Because if we don't get it straight now, if we don't get it straight, 10 trillion per year worldwide, come on. Look, if you're in cybersecurity, 10 trillion, yeah, they're paying big money if you know how to do so. So listen, I think at the end of the day, there's plenty of work because there's plenty of money.
I agree.
So what we've said is they've lost work because of the emerging technologies, yeah, but new jobs are being created because of what's going to happen because of it. If everything goes online, yeah, all the businesses go online, that's creating new business, new jobs, isn't it? If now from there all the crime goes online, doesn't it? Yeah. All the banking goes online, doesn't it?
Yep.
Everything goes online. So there's new jobs. So what we need to say is, how do we put ourselves in a position? The basic one is the maths and English. And I like what Bosse said earlier, where she said that, I was complaining about we don't have the right infrastructure in Africa to take advantage of this. But she mentioned that in Africa, in most countries in Africa, the first language is your colonial language, which is your English. That's your English, isn't it? So that means we're good and we're even better in English there than we are here. Yeah. So that means we're in pole position already. And you know what? You cannot beat an African boy when it comes to maths, or African girl when it comes to maths. So we have the very interesting parts. But the next part is, do we have the technology? Now, you said we can't worry about that because we're not in control of that, but we can be in control because businesses can say, right, you know what, that is one of our problems. Yeah. Why don't we have, since the government doesn't want to provide it from source, yeah, then why don't we have solar panels? Why don't we have solar farms? Why don't we solar farms the villages? And where there's young people that are good at maths, good at English, and then put in a system there where we can get going. One of the things, and we are underrepresented when it comes to the language for AI. When it comes to AI, we're underrepresented. Yeah. So what we need to do is, most of the things in these machine languages, most of the things in there is to do with Caucasian. Yeah. But we are underrepresented, so we need to catch up. We need to have our own platform. Why is it that the whole world is trying to control? Because if you really look at it carefully, there's also centralization in AI. Yeah. Why is it that we don't have our own AI models? Yeah. Yeah. There's centralization in terms of blockchain. There's centralization. Why is it that some big guy is now going to own the whole of Chat GPT, which we're now struggling to use? Yeah. But we need to start looking at that. But anyway. Wow. I hope you liked the show. We're at a heated moment right now. I've got a question to ask Joe and Bosse. And on the next part, which is part 3, the final part, they get to answer the questions and you get to give your feedback. Now, what I'd like you to do, remember to game again. This is the Game Challenger UK on the YouTube channel, I'd like you to like, subscribe, and share and comment. Just put your comment. I don't care whether it's negative, positive, neutral. Just put your comment, like, subscribe. Press on that subscribe, press on that subscribe, press on that like, and also visit us at our website, thegamechallenger.com. Okay,